Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for this Monday morning briefing. The markets are about to open in about 10 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for this Monday morning briefing. The markets are about to open in about 10 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for this Monday morning briefing. The markets are about to open. All right. Sorry about that. I'm a little off just with one screen this morning. But anyway, that goes the markets, and looks like we are opening with a big opening market up day with the market up 60 points here. As you can see, the S&P was as high as 75 points, and the NASDAQ just about 15 minutes ago, if not less than that, was up 400 plus points. So we're giving back some at this point, but nice to see a green start to this trading session, to this trading week, which we have a jam-packed week of a lot of economic information coming out, a lot of earnings coming out with big household names. And we also have the Fed coming out this week. So we'll discuss that. So today the plan is to go over these markets and discuss that, discuss what is going on. We need to be vigilant about this week, to discuss what's going on with Dorian Trader. And and the main topic we're going to discuss this morning is the the base of options, pillar one, through the lens of the bull call and the bull put. And we'll break that down a little bit later. But for now, let's jump into the markets just to see what's going on across a lot of these different indices. All right, so as we mentioned, we have the ES, which is the S&P 500, that's up but off its highs. The Nasdaq 100, and that's up but significantly off its highs. You have the Dow up, and you have the Russell up. So all the four major indexes are up, but off the highs at this point. Looking at the VIX futures, that is down a little. The VIX cash is down a little over 4%. Looking at oil, that's giving back almost 6% this morning. Some news of, once again, it feels like Groundhog's Day. We have an escalation of the Iran situation, and then we have a de-escalation. And so now we're going to the kind of de-escalation and the pause, and we'll see how long that lasts. But the market is obviously taking it well this morning, and I do think that it has a high probability of going back to the highs today. The market wants to be bullish, wants to have some good news, but it's definitely some tailwinds or headwinds, I should say, that are um, out there that is making it a lot more muggy, a lot more ambiguity, a lot more uncertainty that is which way this market is going to go, right? I've talked to a number of you, and most of us feel like we have no idea, no real feeling on if the market is going to go up or down. And so I think that is why we've been, for the most part, flat. We're still not too far from all-time highs, and then it also has this kind of feel that we could drop a decent amount. So we'll see how long it takes most of us to get some type of directional bias. But right now, most of us have an indifferent type of feeling about the market. All right, so we have natural gas that's down, we have corn down, wheat down, and soybeans. So all the grains are down. Looking at the bonds, they are all up today. So that means interest rates are going down some, but nothing significant. You have the 2 year, the 5 year, the 10 year, and the 30 year. 30 year is leading the way percentage wise to the upside. Looking at the metals, we have gold that is up here, and we have silver up, and we have copper up. Copper is leading the way, up a little over 0.5%. Looking at the major currencies to start this week off against the dollar, you can see that the euro is starting green, the pound is down, the Canadian dollar is down, the Japanese yen is up, and the Australian dollar is up against the US dollar. And looking at Ethereum and Bitcoin, you have Ethereum back over 1900 a coin, and you have Bitcoin a little over 65,000 a coin. So it's nothing to be excited about yet. Maybe we should start getting excited once we hit the 70,000 mark for Bitcoin. And that's still, as you guys can see, about 5,000 points away from that. That can happen fast. And so we'll see. Now, some of us might not get excited until it's back over 80,000. And I can definitely understand that sentiment. All right. So looking at some of these big names, the start the week off, we have a number of these big names with earnings coming out this week. We'll discuss that a little bit later. But you have Amazon that's starting the trading session off in the week up, Netflix, Disney, Apple, Home Depot, Meta, Tesla. But Tesla's obviously got rocked last week after its earnings. It's 85 points, 86 points away from that 400 level that I said was a lot of support. It's lost it at this time. So we might see Tesla below 300 now because it didn't hold that 400 level. You have Nvidia down out of, a lot of this stuff is most of this stuff is green. Nvidia is down almost 0.5%. So that's a bummer for the Nvidia fans there. You got Google up, Microsoft up, Walmart up, ExxonMobil one of the down. That makes sense with oil being down. JP Morgan, Caterpillar up a little bit, AMD up, Palantir up, but below $130 a share there. You have SanDisk, Kent, it's not up, and then you have Micron that is not up. I mean, it's up, but nothing significant. And looking at some of these other names here, there's names of interest, mostly green here. Some of the standouts, as you guys can see, you have, man, that's a big day up for IonQ, but still below 40, but that's 10% up. You got Rivian up over 4%, Coin up over 4.5%, and you have App Loving up over 5%, CoreWeave up almost 4% there, Robinhood up almost 4%, Broadcom is up, Qualcomm is up, SpaceX is getting hammered, man. That thing is in the is going for 112, 113 now. That price level that we talked about at 100 is starting to look more and more um, attractive. And if you would have sold that 100 strike when we were talking about for the last several weeks, yes, you are down on that at this point because it's been such a massive drop. But the premise was to be okay with taking ownership and that we didn't think it would get to that down to that level. But if it did, that would be a good buying opportunity, especially if you wasn't just wanting 100 shares, you wanted more like 300 shares. You can start by selling a put, a cash secured put at the 100 strike. And then if it falls some more, maybe you sell another, put at the 80 strike, 75 strike, give or take, a little bit there and kind of have a really good dollar cost average. But it looks like it's a possibility that you could have to take ownership at the 100 strike. I would be surprised if we go too much lower than where it's at this point, but the negative sentiment is obviously building on itself, and so you have to be vigilant with the process now. And two, it kind of gets some type of floor. No floor has been established to this at this time with SpaceX. All right, so moving back to this main list here, we've jumped back up on the ES a little bit. We're only about, as I say, 15 points away from the highs of the session, but that Nasdaq is about 200 points away from its high. So that's a bummer. Hopefully that will gain some attraction a little later. All right, so if we were looking to do some type of zero DT trade, if we go over here to the SPX, and I don't think we're going to go up a ton more, the risk is to the downside. And in my opinion, because we're up a lot at this point. So the expected move is, let's say 25. And so if we double that, that's 50. So at the top, that'll be 75, 25. That's about a 5 delta. And if we did a 20 point wide, that would only give us about $25 on the call side. On the put side, 50 points would take us to about 74.25. That's an 11 delta. You guys know we're not going to do that. If we wanted to go a little bit further down, let's just say to this 7 delta here, that's about 60 points away, with the expected move being 25 times 250. So a little bit more than 2 times the expected move. And if we did a 20 point wide spread here, that would give us $90. I don't love that. We would probably have to do a wider spread. So that just say if we wanted to stay at that 7 delta, we would have to do a wider spread. So that's 25 points. This will be 30 points on the put side. We can get filled at $10 or 110. That would be the price. If we made the call side a little wider as well, it gives about 120. That's not bad. You guys, I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to do it with one contract, just to stay small. And you guys know I've been doing that here for a second. So we just got filled. And what I'm gonna do is quickly throw the alerts on, and then I'll show you then I'll throw it in Discord really, really quickly. So we're gonna do 4 times. So 90 times 4 is 360. So we're gonna put the alert at 350 and 360 here on the calls on the put side, and then on the call side, the expected the amount we have is 20. So if you take 20 and you times it by 4, that's just going to be 80. So we would put this at 80. I'm going to put it exactly at 80, um 0.8 and 0.90 just to give it a little bit more time to run. And there we go. So we're going to send that. And that is the trade. Let me throw it into Discord. I don't even know if I have Discord up. I do apologize for that. I am still on the road. I don't travel back to Houston until tomorrow. And so I am a little off here, but let's jump over here and jump to the 0 DTE trade and or channel here. I'm going to say 0, uh, where's SPX, new 0 DTE trade. We are trying to get 50% to 60% profit. And I could have probably moved that call side more. That Now that I think about it, I could have probably moved that call side up more. Because look at that, we were only at it. I was 2 times the expected move on the call side. I could have moved that call side up more to be further away on the put side. But anyway, it's too late now. We'll let it play out. Let me just see. Did I throw this in Discord? Yes. All right. So that's the trade now in Discord. What I'm gonna do is put some alerts over here as well, so that I can, while I'm yapping here, I can determine if I want to roll up the call, if I want to roll up the calls faster before any type of stop out or anything like that. So 74, I'm gonna go with 74.45. So not very, that's not too far from where it's at, about 15 points. I want to see what will happen. And then greater than on the call side, I don't think we're going to go up a lot. So too much more. So let's just say on the call side, 7,500 to the upside. So there we go. And it would nice to see us bounce back. But unfortunately, for the first 15, 14 minutes here, the market is continuing to kind of give back some of those gains, and hopefully the Nasdaq is not going to lead us down because that's more than 50% off its highs of the evening session. So that's a lot of times an indication that it could go the other way and actually go red. So hopefully that's not the case today because it's so early in the trading session. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about what we need to be vigilant about this week. But actually, before we do that, I want to do a quick little poll. I'm kind of give you guys get a little feel of what you are thinking about this week. Just going to do a quick poll on are we going to be up or down this week? We normally do this type of poll on Monday, kind of get an opinion. So if you can participate up, down, or flat this week, that would be great. Don't let the up move at this time sway you. Go with what you are, you know, your gut is telling you. So I'm going to count down from five, guys, for time purposes. So click the button and then I'll share these results. All right, so we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm gonna end the poll. We had about a little over 50% participation. So normally have about 70% participation. So keep that in mind. So you guys can see about 31% of us believe it's going to be up, 23% down, and 46% flat. So that's basically how most of us has been feeling, is that we have no idea. So we're going with neutral of how the market is going to be. I'm kind of in that camp still because I just don't have a bias. And most of the time, you guys, I have a direction that I'm leaning. And at this point, it's so much ambiguity on what's going to happen in the market at this time. So
O'Brien,
yes,
I
sir.
think the market may be waiting for the Fed as well. There's like economists are saying there's going to be a rate cut, but policymakers and investors are saying that there's going to be a rate increase. So that might be bringing some indecision to the market, plus the war.
So absolutely, Sanjay. I don't think it's going to be any cut this week, right? But that's kind of forecast that you mentioned. They're saying sometime this year it might. Some people are saying it's going to be a rate increase. Some saying it's just going to be a pause, right? Most people in the camp that we're going to have some type of cut. That is that is definitely at this time. Things can change, but at this time, that's off the table because inflation is not going to go down over the next numbers that we get because oil has spiked back up to last week to the 90s. Yeah, we're giving some back now, but if oil stays elevated here, or that's only going to exacerbate or hurt inflation numbers. And and then how can the Fed cut when we just quietly got tariffs back on the table. The 3 month or whatever it was, 150-day period that the administration had to, you know, wait before increasing tariffs again has passed, and so tariffs have been increased on 98 plus percent of all imports, um, 10% to 12.5%. So you have to go check what things are 12.5%, but um, the game is, you know, that is the game. So it's permanent now. It doesn't change very much, and so I think that's why it's been very quiet. We were at 10% across the board before this, some of these things have been increased to 12.5, right? The administration had the ability to keep it at 10 because you couldn't have it any higher than 10 until until the investigations were completed. Well, those investigations were completed, and it's obviously no surprise that um, that it was deemed appropriate to put tariffs on everything, right? So I do think that we're going to have some more court fights on that because I don't think the the statute that the administration is using was intended to be so broad based across everything and every import, every country. So we'll see if that gets challenged. I'm sure it's already been people have already filed lawsuits. We'll see if that how that happens. But it doesn't really change the market sentiment, obviously, because we've already been in this tariff kind of environment. But it doesn't help, I don't think, with um, lowering um, the kind of inflation numbers any significant way. Meaning that I think we probably stay around 3 to 4% inflation numbers for the CPI, the PCE that's coming out this week, the personal consumption expenditures. I believe that's coming out on Thursday after the Fed. And so we'll look at that here in a second. So anyway, we had the PPI. I don't think that's going to go down too much more than what it was last month. I anticipate if the oil stays the way it is, that's actually going to go up. So that puts the Fed in a very, very tricky position because the new Fed wants to, you know, I think it wants to thank the administration and and not just thank the administration. I think the new Fed chair wants to cut interest rates, but he wants to do it in a responsible manner, I think. And and it's hard to say that that is the case at this time. But cutting a 1/4%, I don't think that changes much. And so maybe that happens sometime this year. Most people are saying that's not going to happen, but maybe it does because uh, you know you have to uh, you know I think say thank you in a way of being elected, regardless if it the Fed is independent and all. Um, I think that that's just how business is done. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, so we're gonna stop sharing this and let's jump over here. And by the way, you guys, I like the new chair, and some of you heard me say that. I thought his first meeting was excellent. I thought his communication style is excellent. I thought, obviously how he articulated things was on point, and so I think that's going to be on the case on Wednesday. That um, the market might not take things great because the way they have to forecast, but I don't think it's going to be because he's not saying the right things. He seems ready for the job, and one of the things is that he was a part of the Fed in the past, so he's not like beginner to this game. I think he was definitely qualified for the job, and so we'll see how things kind of play out. Um, all right, so moving on, let me bring up this document here, everyone, and let's look at a few things. So we have durable goods come out today. Let's see what those numbers were really quickly here. Um, so if we jump over here and we go to the economic calendar, and so durable good orders came in less than anticipated, right? The forecast was 1.6%. We came in at 0.3%. So, and core durable goods came in less than expected as well. And so if we jump back over here to this list that I want to show, We have this the CV consumer confidence coming out tomorrow. That's gonna be interesting. I don't think it's gonna move the market though. Only thing I think is going to move the market this week is this on Wednesday, the Fed interest rate decision. They're not going to increase or decrease interest rates. It's what they forecast, it's what they change in their statements, it's how the new Fed chair answers questions during the press conference. And so a number of you have heard me say in the past that whatever happens before the interest rate decision is announced, it doesn't matter. We can be up a ton and then reverse. We can be down a ton and then we reverse. And then also Thursday is important because the Fed interest rate decision has a hangover type of effect. You can have a big move on that Thursday that after the market kind of digests a lot of the data, you can have a big move on that Thursday. So you have to be vigilant not only on Wednesday, but you have to be vigilant on Thursday as well. So be careful this week because the market is showing us signs that it doesn't really know what it wants to do. And so if it gets nervous, maybe we can have a big drop. I don't think I think it's the pot odds, the probabilities are uh, uh, greater that we can have a big drop than a big up move, in my opinion. But I still don't know which way it's going to go. I don't have a bias, like I said. But if you had to tell me if you ask me which way I think a bigger move could happen, I would say to the downside than the upside at this point because we're still very close to all-time highs, you guys. So that's what you want to worry about. And then on Thursday, which is interesting, is the what the Fed really likes to look at is the PCE, right? That's coming out on Thursday, so that number, that data that they can make decisions on, is coming out after they, finish um, their FOMC meeting. So maybe that could be a something that exacerbates that kind of a hangover effect is that PCE data that comes out on Thursday before the market opens. So be careful on Thursday this week, you guys. Be careful on Wednesday and Thursday. Don't play hero ball with short-term trades. Be vigilant this week. All right, so moving on, let's let's talk about what's going on with Dorian Trader this week really quickly. This afternoon, we have the witching hour that Awanza's leading the witching hour this afternoon. I normally lead the witching hour on Mondays, but Awanza's going to do that for me today. And then this evening, we have Gustavo leading the technical analysis and charts. Tomorrow, tomorrow morning, we're going to have Awanza back with the foundation course that he teaches every Tuesday morning. We're going to be going over lesson 4, which is the lesson 4 is understanding how to read your portfolio. That is an important lesson. And then Tuesday afternoon, we have Ernie leading the witching hour. Tuesday night, we have Lewis, who leads our Tuesday night beginners hub / group onboarding. If you're new, it's a number of you that signed up over the weekend. If you're new and you're on this call, you want to look at that on-demand onboarding that you can get immediately now. It's just a video, and you can jump around and click the links in the description area to be able to determine what you want to learn, what you want to hear. But you can also jump on Tuesday nights and um, ask questions regarding anything onboarding and obviously beginner type of things. Lewis is great at answering those type of questions. With that said, on Wednesday morning, we're going to come back with follow on and earn. I'm going to be back and leading that. And then what was that? Must have been some type of alert. And so we got stopped out on the put side, as you guys have just noticed. And so was that a stop out? Yeah, we got an alert and a stop out. So we got stop out at 350. And obviously we given back a little at this point, but that's okay. If we look at this trade here, I mean, if we look at the price that we got stopped out at, we were at the 74.10. That was our that was our price. So if we come back in, and as I say, we come back in at this 12 delta. I mean, we could be going, we 50% down. We could definitely be going red at this point, right? But it's so early in the trading session that that's not necessarily a guarantee. So if we go 30 points wide again, that would give us about $200 premium. I'm going to go with that. And I took it down to a 10 delta. And you can argue that I should wait a little longer. I'm going to do that for the next trade. So actually filled us at 255. So that's about a dollar. We're about a dollar down from the stop, right? And if we move this up some, and I don't want to move it up a ton, but let's just say we move it up, keep in mind, um, let's just say we move it up here, do something like that, and keep it at a 6 delta. And let's say we add, uh, if it jumps back up a lot, we'll get stopped out on the call side, but that's okay. We're going to send this, and then that'll give us the trade, all the money's back if we can get filled there. So I'm going to go try to get filled. Let's go with this 30 price. They're not giving it to me. I don't want to move up too much more than what we're at. So you can see it just dropped too fast. So unfortunately, so they gave it to us at 120. So anyway, that's the trade there. If we go over here and look at the price, we got 119 in the trade after um, fees and commissions, and so we'll see how it plays out. But this right here is the stop. We're gonna go two times this really quickly. So let's just say it was $2. We're gonna go 410 and 420, and we're gonna send that. And then on this call side here, um, it is 65, and so it's two contracts though. And to let that kind of call side play out, I'm gonna go with um, if I did if I did 140, and I'm gonna see what that looks like. That would be 280 with the two contracts. Let's go with um 160 and 150, and that would be less than the put side stop out at this point. And keep in mind, if we get stopped out there, we'll jump back up. I want to give it a little bit more time, but that helps. All right, so let's send that. I do think we could have a jump back up and we get stopped out on the on the call side. Um, but that's okay. We could decide to put this another contract to the put side to be able to collect enough premium and bet that okay, it dropped enough. So I'm gonna give it a second and see if we jump back up just a little bit more, and then I would add that put side. But I don't want to be fooled, and because if we keep dropping, I still can have a big move by adding another contract to the put side. And so the odds are still greatly on our side that we're going to win on this trade. So anyway, let me put a new alert and then I'll move back on to what we're talking about. So 74, um, I want to go to 74.50 because that just give me an idea that maybe we're done dropping back. Maybe we're done dropping. So I want to go to 74.50 to the upside, and then that'll tell me to add another contract. And then to the downside, I want to put 74.20. Just want to see what our delta is at that point. 74.20. So there we go. Those are the new alerts, and that goes the trade. Let me throw this in Discord for anyone that's following really quickly. And all right, so this is the trade here. And all right, so does it say XPX? Um, zero DTE trade update. We got stopped out and we entered the trade and rolled up the call side. We added two contracts to the call side. All right, so this is it here, just fast there. All right, so jumping back over here and see something real quick. All right, perfect. 27. So a second ago we were up 27 points. We'll see how it kind of plays out. So anyway, we on Wednesday we have follow and earn that I'm leading. Also on Wednesday, if you're in the Woodlands area, that's the out just outside of Houston, Awanza is going to be leading an in-person event there. If you want to come out, that would be great. And so Thursday I will be leading the Alchemy of a Trade, Wands the Witching Hour. Thursday night we will have a event webinar that I'm going to be leading, but also we have the weekly Beginners Hub, weekly Q&A with Awanza. So encourage you to be on that. And then Friday the trading floor, and then the Witching Hour, and then we also have another event webinar that I'm leading on Saturday if you want to be on that. All right, so let me put let me check and see if you guys got a question. I hear some noise in the background there. Show. All right. So I don't see any hands raised. Keep in mind, you guys, I'm on one screen just on my laptop today. So if you have your hand raised, I'm not going to be able to see it until I look over here.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Sanjay.
Um, I have this sock cell collar expiring this Friday,
Uh-huh.
and I've never been in this situation. The the stock price is below the put that I bought.
Uh-huh.
And so I can just tell you the strikes. It was the
Okay.
150. I bought the one, sold the 159 call, bought the 148 put. My cost basis on the my cost basis on the stock was sorry, was 154.26. And
154.26. Okay.
yeah, that was the cost basis. And I'm just wondering, do I do I buy the stock back or sorry, do I sell the stock before exercise the put and sell the stock at the 148 since it's at the 130? But that'll leave my call naked, but the call is quite a ways
So
from,
so I
yeah,
wouldn't do that, Sanjay. I would let it play out a little longer, right? We're down today. Maybe we jump back up. I don't it's we're about to go red, as you guys can see on the NASDAQ. That's a bummer, but it's so early in the day. It's only been 38 minutes. We could go back up 400 points, but it's a little disheartening that we've given up all of that so fast. That the good news about the pause and the fighting is not sustainable. But anyway, you don't want to do that. You want to let it play out a little because it can bounce back easily back above your 159 strike where you're at. Um, but just roll it when it's time. That put
okay.
you can see I'm in the same situation with this follow on and earn that we're not going to touch until Wednesday, you guys, obviously. And so what I would do is just sell the put, buy the call, right? And then just roll it out to the next expiration period or whatever expiration period you want. In this
Okay.
case, you guys, we're going to be on Wednesday, we're going to be rolling it to August the 7th. And then what I do is just like the platforms would do it if you were doing it if you were doing it automatically with the platforms, I would go to the same strike first, right? On the put side, I would buy the 160, and on the call side, I would sell the 170. Okay. And then you
The
could,
put's 148.
I'm talking about I'm showing you the same kind of concept, but
Oh,
using
I
my
see. Okay,
strikes
got
here.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and so you'll be able to do the same thing. Trust me, right?
Right.
Actually,
Okay.
let me just do it with your strikes. I apologize. Let me just do it with your strikes. Okay.
No.
So your strikes, you were at on the put side
148 on the
one
put
foot.
side.
Okay. So I'm selling that. And on the call side, you was 159, right? So I'm buying that back. Okay.
On the
Correct?
call side is 159. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So what happens, you guys? I'm doing the opposite. I'm selling the put back to the market,
Yeah.
buying the call, right, to close out this 4 days is going to be gone. But just as you would do it automatically in the system, I'm manually rolling this as I'm showing you. So what I would do is go to the same strikes. So I would go and buy the 148 first. That's where I'll start at, and sell the 159. Okay. If I did that, that's only a $60 debit at this point.
Right.
I can live with that, which, if you're
As
okay, that's fine.
buys me a week.
But yes, you can live with that. I normally won't, but you can, because that's not a big debit. The most you can lose over the next week is $60. Okay, whatever that debit is, because your put is still at the same floor level, right? You didn't change the put. But
Right.
if you moved up the call a little, you said your call spaces is 154, I think you said, right?
That's right.
If you move up the call to, let's say, the 157, you get a credit here. It's not a big credit, but it jumps back up. You get all your monies back, um, plus $300,
Right.
350 or
It's
whatever
still
it
out of
is.
the money too. Okay.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And but you don't have it, you wouldn't have any risk to the downside. You can't lose any more because you never moved your floor. And you just moved your call up and made the whole thing a credit. If you can get it. Obviously, you have to play around with it, okay?
Yeah, I just realized that my break even on the stock is 159, but 159.89, so pretty much 160. So I'm kind of stuck there.
Well, you're not stuck there. You can always you're gonna lower your break even
Yeah.
once every time you get a credit. When you do it, you're gonna be lowering your break even. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Thank you.
keep a record of your break even,
Yes.
Sanjay. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, awesome. All right, so moving on, let me just double check. All right, so perfect. Let's go back to this list here, you guys. And I'm just gonna, for time purpose, I'm only gonna point out a few things. It's some big names coming around. I know Wanda's gonna point out a number of them as well this week, I'm sure. But to today we did have I mean, tomorrow we do have Coca-Cola coming out. We have Boeing. We have GLW. I think that's Corning, right? And I believe um Ola has been talking a lot about Corning, and Corning has, I haven't looked at it in a while since it was close to these all-time highs. You guys can see Corning is gave a ton back, and that's just been the market. That's been a bummer. You can see that the Nasdaq just went red. I mean, that if Gordon, if you're on the call, I can't see. I think you are. That whole concept that I say that if we give back 50% of the gains, we're gonna go red. It doesn't happen all the time, but I think it's a little bit more than 50% of the time it happens. Doesn't mean we're not going to be back green today, but it's very disheartening to see that we were up way over 400 points on the Nasdaq, and we gave it all back within 45 minutes of the market open. That's a bummer. So we'll see if we get some people buying up here in a second. But this is the reflection of a lot of the high flying tech stocks recently, is that they've given a lot back. I mean, this thing is hitting up against its 200-day moving average here, and hopefully it has some support there. But I would be bullish on Corning.
They're reporting before the market opens tomorrow. So,
Correct,
yeah.
correct. They're reporting. I would be bullish on them, but the sentiment is a little. It all depends, I guess, hit and miss. Until they went up after their earnings. I don't know what they look like now. Let's take a look at Intel. That's just one that point out jumped off the. All right, so Intel is down now, and so I don't know if this is still up a little bit after the from the earnings, but they were up over $100 after the earnings, and they're back below, I mean, about to go below $90. So the sentiment is negative right now, you guys, but that these can all be great buying opportunities if you feel like this is just a normal kind of pullback because it was just going up too much. And that's my opinion. I think I think we could see, a lot of this change um, starting late August, early September. We can see the markets get back, and a lot of these things go back to the highs of the year. So we'll see. All right. So moving on, I just want to take a quick look at this stop loss real quick and see how is it looking. So on the put side, it's still about half away from the stop loss. On the call side, it's a little bit, it's double. The put side is double. It still needs to go up, another 100%. And on the call side is the same, more than 100%. So we're good at this point. We'll see how much this market kind of drops. Let me jump back over here and just see the delta on that though. On the put side, 0 DT. So the delta is a 17. So that's good, right? If it was a 25, I feel a little less comfortable about that. And so anyway, let's move back. Let's go and look at a few other things. So we talked about Coca-Cola. I didn't look at the chart. Boeing didn't look at the chart. UPS, that's coming out tomorrow as well. Just some big household names. I know it's a bunch. I'm not going to be able to go over all. Tomorrow afternoon after the bell, I think the V is that Visa? Yes. So Visa, you can see that's been doing well. It hasn't, it's not too far from its 12-month high, and it's up today almost 2%. So it's hard for me to be bearish on American Express, as you guys heard me say, I think last week, and it's hard for me to be bearish on Visa. These companies they just seem to just a great business model. We're gonna be using if visas and American Express credit cards forever, regardless. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say forever, but using, just trying to emphasize that these companies are going to be around regardless. If we using cards or we just, you know, paying from our phone, it's still gonna be Visa, American Express, Mastercard.
American Express dropped after earnings last week, though. So it
Did
will be
they?
interesting to see how Visa performs. Yeah.
Yeah. What's American Express? It's
AXP.
AXP. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it went up. I thought it was up initially after earnings, and I guess it just dropped. But that's a decent drop. But you can see Visa is whatever the reason why American Express dropped, Visa um maybe dropped a little bit, but it's got it all back, as you guys can see. Um, and so American Express is up a little bit today, hovering around that 50-day moving average. So we'll see. All right, so moving on a few more here. Um, so we have on Wednesday after the bell, that's going to be a crazy day. You got Microsoft, Meta, and what is LRCX?
Lam Research.
Lam Research. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it's a big company. So you got Lam Research, you got ARM, you got Qualcomm, you got Starbucks. That's all coming out on Wednesday after the bell. And then on Thursday before the bell, I believe MA is MasterCard, but I just double check. So yeah. So that's coming out on Thursday before the bell. You can see that that's been doing well. It's above its 200, above its 50, not near the highs of the year for it, but it's not dropping like a lot of other stuff, a lot of tech stuff right now. All right, so also on Thursday after the bell, it's a big day. You got Apple and Amazon coming out. So that's going to be this week is going to be huge with
Apple hit all-time highs today, by the way, going into earnings.
did it do it again? Let me see.
All-time highs today.
So
Ahead
that's obviously
against the market.
that's been the darling of tech stocks over the last month or so. It's why almost everything else is falling. Microsoft is just kind of give you guys an example. SanDisk, this is SanDisk, which is had a ridiculous up move, and it's given a decent amount back. If you go to Micron, it's going to be very similar, and um, and then a lot of this other stuff. You got Amazon. Um, and then you got Meta. It's all going to look like the same. And so, but Apple is the outlier. It's hit an all-time high as Ola just mentioned today, and it's up with the Nasdaq down. Um, Not a lot, but it feels a lot more than 39 points down because once again we were up 400 points for most of the evening
Yeah, I think the market
session.
likes the fact that they were not spending as much on AI build out. So now it feels like Apple was the smart one, right? Um, at the time when the market was kind of hounding them that they weren't putting too much dollars into the whole AI build and stuff. Now people are thinking maybe that was a smart move. Like they weren't overly investing like the other max hyperscalers, I guess.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We need a little bit more time for the play out, but obviously the market is rewarding them now. Google, which is hasn't, I think they got like negative cash flow now because they've been spending so much and indicated they're going to continue to spend a lot. So the market is not liking that right now, but it's that kind of um, traditional type of time frame where the market this doesn't happen all the time, guys, but it's a reason why they used to have this saying, um, uh, um, sell in May and go away, right? And then it's kind of this lull in the kind of summer months. People in the past is because a lot of traders would be going on vacation. Obviously it's not that case. You can trade from anywhere now and all that kind of stuff. But
It's
um,
funny that the market is punishing the hyperscalers because the last 2 years they were rewarded for it, but it's almost like there's
exactly.
exhaustion in the market.
Well,
And
you can.
Apple's also getting pushed back now for its because indirectly the increases in memory pricing.
Yeah, but the market is loving the Apple at this point.
Sure.
And you got Google getting hit, but we'll see if it was just valuation, right? We just got out of whack a little bit, or if it's just a pause. I'm right now I'm in the camp that this is a normal type of pullback, and that doesn't mean we won't see the highs on a lot of these stocks by the end of the year. So um we'll see. All right. So
Yeah,
the Nasdaq is pulling us down
Seagate
though, you
is
guys.
reporting, I think, tomorrow, so we might see what they say for memory.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
STX reports tomorrow, so
Uh-huh.
that's a big memory. It'll be interesting to see what they report out because it might help the memory guys.
Okay. All
Seagate.
right. So you
Yeah.
guys can see that the Nasdaq is pulling the ES down is more that's way off its highs. I think the high I seen with the ES was 75. So we're way more than 50% off the highs. So we're probably going to be seeing some red there here in a second too. Um, and so that when I originally said that I should have moved up I should have put the call side outside of that two standard deviation move or that two expected move, I should say. But I didn't. So anyway, we'll see. We already got one stop out. We'll see what happens here in a second with with this next one. We're gonna get stopped out again, or we're gonna be proactive and move the stop. So, but you can see we're only about 60 points, 60 cents away from being stopped at this point. And the Nasdaq is picking up steam, bringing us down, but not. I mean, the Russell and the Dow is still staying nice, but that S&P is connected too much to that NASDAQ at this point, that NASDAQ 100. So we'll see how it plays out. But we're going to let that sit. And I think I had a stop alert at 74.20. And so we're going to get that alert here in a second as well. There we go. There's the alert. And so what we could do is move this call side up a little bit, just a tiny bit, because it's still so early in the trading session that we can easily move up a little bit more. We can easily come back be, based on all the other indexes showing us that that's the case, but we'll see. Let me hit cancel there, and then let's just think about moving it up just a little bit. So if we moved up to the 70 here, let me just show you guys. If I moved up to the 70, excuse me, it was a 70 bid. So anyway, if I move up to 70, 74.80, and let's say we keep it 30 points wide, two contracts, that'll give us $80 more. And so we just got stopped out again on the put side. So that's crazy. But anyway, let's send this. And we're gonna let that play out for a second. See if they'll fill us. I'm trying to get filled at the 40 cents. I'm gonna give it 5 seconds. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Uh, there we go. You had to be a tiny bit patient. All right. So what happened is that we just got stopped out again on the put side at, as you guys can see, we bought it back at the 73.90. The 73.90 is a 23 delta now. And if we look at it, how much we have in the trade, we negative 226 now. And what we can do is come back in. Let's say we decided to come back in here and we were 30 points wide on the call side. So let's say we keep it 30 points wide. We can do two contracts, and that would give us about 400 back. And so we'll still have 100 and something in the trade if we did that. But I want to kind of wait a second before I put it back on just to see if we deteriorate more to the downside. Okay. But we have the ability to get this 200 and 226 back here once we add the put side. And so when do you add the put side? Um, do you add the put side now, or do you wait until it see if it falls and goes red some more? So we'll see. Anyway, let's move on. And all right, those are all the stocks I wanted to talk about this morning. Let's now open it up really quickly for any additional questions, and then let's jump into what I wanted to talk about regarding the call, the base of options through the lens of the bull call and the bull put. Okay. So any questions before we move on? All right.
O'Brien, this is Swati.
Hey, Swati, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Very good. The
Good.
market is dropping. It actually on Friday, what I noticed was it was so volatile that I just got out. I was
Uh,
fighting my day trade almost till the end, and I just got out. I rolled it up to Monday, and I got out.
uh.
But the volatility towards the end was so crazy, and I don't know if others are noticing the same as well. But I mean, this felt like it could go 10, 20 points either way, even at the end. So I don't know if you have a thought on that.
So I've been experiencing that as well. Of that is we obviously you can't count on the market, having a big up day, you can't count on it staying an up day. Having a big down day, you can't count on it staying a big down day. And so that's the ambiguity of that we were talking about earlier on the call, is that most members, we don't really have a gut feeling of which way this market can go. And so, and then when it does what it has, done so far today, it makes it really hard as well because it's still so early. We're only an hour into the trading. We can easily come all the way back today. So if you are doing so short-term trades the way we just did, you have to be very, very vigilant about um, or how much you roll the non-tested side and so forth, because we can easily come back. And so as you guys can see, we just went red more. The NASDAQ is now down 200 points. It's like a 600 point change reversal, right? Um, that's crazy. And you can see that the ES is dropping. It's like as if some noise came and it's starting to affect the Dow and the Russell as well, even though those are still green. So if we would have put the trade back on, the trade would have been a 20 delta now. But since we waited a little, is doesn't mean that was the right decision. But you never know what's going to be the right decision. You have to just do what you think is best at that time. So we need $226, right? And so if we go if we go and do something like this, that is that's a 30 point wide spread. We're getting 350. That would give us over $100 in the trade still and take us all the way down to the uh the 9 delta here. So I actually like that. Um and just think that I'm gonna do that. And they gave us 155. Um and so if we go, I could have obviously got more if I would have got a little higher, but I just think that Um, we're probably going to bounce back. If I'm wrong, then we'll get stopped out. But unfortunately, I only have 76 in the trade. Um, and I did a 30 point wide. And what is that? That is a the call side is 30 point wide as well. So I can roll up the call a little bit more and get a little bit more premium, but just kind of do something like this. And um and then that would be the trade. I can roll it up one. That would be $50. That would give us after fees and commissions, what, another 45. So that would take us back over 100. Um, but if we jump up a ton, that can be a problem. But I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna roll this up just a little bit. It could be to my chagrin, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So 75.70, that's a lot of recovery. Can we do it? Yes. And so there we go. So I just a partial roll up. And so if we look at the premium we have in the trade now, that's the 171. And so normally you guys, I say good premium is having $100 for every contract you have on. And so that's a kind of a good level. It's not great, but it's a good level. Anything below it, it's not necessarily horrible, but it's not as it's not as good. So in this case, we're a little below that $100 level for each trade, for each contract, because we have two contracts on at this point. So we'll let this play out like this. And I need to throw this in Discord. So let me do that. Um, and then we'll go from there. All right. So let me jump over here. And we're just going to do it one more time. SPX 0 DTE trade update. Um, Stopped out again. So we rolled up the call side and added the put side back. at the 9 delta. Okay. So does the market continue to fall a decent amount? Or you can see that we're falling now. And let's see. Let's go with some new alerts really quickly. So we got less than um 70 73. That would be a pretty good job. I'm just gonna put 73.75. That's that's a pretty decent distance from our put still. And then on the call side, we're gonna go greater than 70 74.40. Be about 30 points away from our short leg. So that is the trade now, and we'll see how it kind of plays out. It looks like we are um, still kind of picking up some steam to the downside. What's the low on this evening session? The low is 74.33. We're there at this point. These were the lows because yesterday we were up. We were up right when the bell opened after when the Sunday session started. So anyway, I think this should be good, and we'll let it play out with the alerts. All right, so um,
SpaceX just got to 109.
say that again.
This SpaceX just dropped below 110. It's 109 now.
109 now.
109. It's
Okay.
going to go below 100 at this
It
point.
feels that way. Let me
Yeah,
see.
going. Gonna get.
SPCX.
Yep, it's going to go below 100.
That could be a good time to buy if you once
Yep.
again if you want if you wanted at
Yeah.
200 contracts, the 100 strike is good, and um and then you just wait maybe to the 80 strike or the 75 strike, something like that. So let me see here.
Do you
Um,
recommend waiting till next week because they have the earnings and the lockup is 8? I think the first lockup is August 8th. I won't touch it before those two things happen.
yeah, sometime you have to buy because you can't sometimes you can't get the timing right, and so maybe people start buying before the earnings, or maybe people buy right after earnings and you miss the opportunity. That's why I rather just pick a level that I'm okay with, and if I had more than 100 shares, that makes it a lot clearer. So for example, let's just say right here with 4 days to go, 100 to give you the 100 strike could give you $160, which is not bad. Um, Actually, that can lead into we can use SpaceX to lead into the conversation I want to discuss. So, but I want to point out that unfortunately, everyone that is um, looking in from YouTube, we're gonna end that look in now. Didn't get to talk about what I'm going to talk about now, but that should incentivize you to want to sign up for Dorian Trader. So click the link in the description area. You can join for a 3-month trial period at a really good price there. So consider that. Otherwise, um, we'll see you next time on in the next free look in. All right. With that said, let me end this look in really quickly, you guys, and we will call it.